What advice do you have for young people entering the workforce for the first time who are going into marketing or branding? What advice would you give to someone who's beginning their career right now?
Well, I mean, I have a 24-year-old daughter and a 22-year-old daughter, a son, Nikki and Natasha. I think you have to go for it. I think you have to be willing to get in and do the work. I think we're going to live in a hybrid world of work, but I also think it really matters to go into the office. Again, as a young person coming up, so much of what I learned was the soft skills of how things worked in a setting that was not my living room, which, really matters. But also, I just see how you'll bring in somebody who's junior into a meeting that they weren't invited to if you're in person, and they can learn by osmosis from being in the room, or by seeing how you'll present an idea and it goes sideways and how you recover and sort of pivot and come up from that, right? I mean, those are the things that are not things you learn on a Zoom call, which are much more transactional, right? You get on a call because you're doing a podcast and then you get off. Sort of those moments in between are incredible learning moments that I think young people, if they don't go into the office to some degree, are going to miss. And I worry about that. I worry about that because, one, I do think we need human connection. I think you need to connect. I mean, your work family became your family because you spend so much time with them, particularly early on in your career. And I think the other thing I would say is, there really is a divide between the older generation and the younger generation. They know so many different things, and it's such an opportunity to bring the generation that, has different experiences along and actually have mentorship in both ways, right? I think there are people who are over 35 who don't use social media the way that younger people do. I mean, I sort of have a little petri dish with my own children because they're constantly showing me things on YouTube or different platforms. But I think there's an opportunity to educate the generation that is not digitally native and also learn from them, because the experiences that they've gained are life lessons that can benefit the younger generation as they, sort of begin to fly.